A guy in Hangzhou, China bought a robot for $30,000 and then he started renting it out for $450 a day for events, weddings, and marketing stunts. Nothing special about him. He just saw an opportunity and jumped on it first. But he's not the only one though. Right now, China's humanoid robot market is exploding, with over 150,000 rental businesses opened in the last year alone. And prices have already gone down by 90% in the last 12 months. This leaves a massive opportunity in countries where this technology hasn't caught up yet. Australia. If you've caught any of the robot boxing clips floating around, I think we all had the same thought pattern. Surely these were just a cute novelty expo thing. Nope. Not anymore. This is a market forming in real time. In under 12 months, it's gone from a small, cute, remote-controlled sparring robot at a demo to a full-scale combat league with a $1.4 million prize belt. And that's just the fighting side of a much larger wave of robot businesses popping up, while the hardware's starting to get cheap enough for anyone to get in. For those who don't know me, I'm Ben. I'm a tradie and a business owner who spent almost a decade trying and testing new side hustles and don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So now I've decided to start showing you the opportunities that I find along the way. Let me run you through the numbers of how fast this market is actually growing. China registered 38,200 new robot rental businesses in 2025 alone. And that's up 55.7% on the year before. And now there's over 153,000 of them currently operating. One smart example of someone gripping this opportunity is a live streamer in Hangzhou. I think so. Or a butcher. Who cares? He dropped 30 grand on a humanoid robot and then started renting it out for $450 per day, renting it out for private events, marketing stunts, and even wedding proposals. And get this, the daily rate of renting out one of these a year ago was $4,400. Today, 12 months later, $450. And this is where we got to start thinking a little bit strategically about it, because with the prices that they're dropping, it's getting quite insane. Because if machines are getting cheap enough where just owning one and placing it well is already a business in itself. For example, a claw machine or a candy machine, the machine itself is the salesman. You don't need to do any advertisement for it. People walk past it and either want to interact or use it. And in this instance, that's exactly what the YouTube is utilizing. So now we're coming into an era where the claw machine business structure has had a bit of an upgrade, and also in a broader direction. But that same price logic applies somewhere a little bit stranger. Do you remember that fighting league we spoke about? Because there's a robot built to fight and you can already buy it. Get this for example. This one's called the TA100, made by a Shenzhen startup called Engine AI. It first showed up as a prototype in the 2025 World Robot Conference. It stands about 185 centimeters tall at 85 kilos, with 41 high flexible joints. But by the time it officially launched at CES this year, the spec had tightened up just a little bit, featuring 29 degrees of freedom, some serious joint torque, LiDAR, and multi-module sensors built for the kind of stability you need to throw a spinning heel kick, which they've shown in their demos. Here's how fast this escalated. December 24th last year, Engine AI ran the first full-scale humanoid combat tournament called Mecha King and opened the source code so teams could actually code their own fighting software. By February 9th this year, that became URKL, Ultimate Robot Knockout League, the first proper seasonal robot combat league. Every team gets the exact same TA100 for free because the whole competition's about who can code the best combat intelligence, not who has the best hardware. And the champion gets a 10-kilo solid gold prize belt worth $1.4 million. But do you know what's wild? You can just buy one of these right now. Places like JD.com, which is like China's Amazon, have them starting at baseline model for about $25,000 and goes up to about 50 grand for the highest spec model. So in under 1 year, this went from research demo to a league with a 7-figure prize. And you can already order the exact same robot right now. Interesting, but where's the opportunity? Because there's always one. You just need the eye to spot them. And this is also where the fighting market is quite interesting from a business perspective, because every single real fight and wager business that's ever existed, boxing, MMA, even stuff like cockfighting and dogfighting, they all have the same ceiling. Either something or someone gets hurt. And that's exactly what's kept these businesses either underground, heavily regulated, or outright banned. Obviously, depending on where you are. Robot fighting doesn't have that problem. Nobody's getting hurt, nothing's getting hurt. Well, except like a few interchangeable parts, I guess. But there's no athlete risk, there's no animal cruelty. This is two machines nutting it out, which is literally the whole entire premise that URKL is built on. So that's why I think this could properly go mainstream, like properly legitimate, potentially faster than any other sport that's come before. Because once the hardware becomes cheap enough for someone outside of a Chinese corporate company to have access to a couple fighters, due to how early this scene is, those people who decide to get one of these bots, they have the first opportunity to start up something like this within their local area. I know Australia doesn't have it right now. I know where you're watching this from, but think about it. Remember, the business isn't solely the robots themselves, although they are the main attraction. The business is the show. Ticketed events, streaming, and sponsorship, that's the more obvious buildable angle here. The betting layer, that tends to follow any true combat sport. It's always the natural progression once a scene like this exists. But that comes with its own licensing and regulation based on wherever you are. So if you want to get into something like this, it isn't a start over the weekend type of business. It's going to be a bit more extensive than that. But it's definitely a genuine space to keep an eye on if businesses like this interest you. It's worth asking the bigger question, because fighting is just the first job that these things have been trusted with. April 30th this year in Shenzhen, a T-800 walked alongside actual SWAT patrol with real officers as a demonstration tied to testing. Not a full rollout, but it shows these things are already being trusted enough to be shown in use cases like this. And it's not stopping at patrol. The same traits that make a T-800 a good fighter, its speed, its strength, its durability, its long use, is the same traits that you might find in traffic control? Yep, turns out China's already testing this one out, but with different hardware. A robot called the R1 is working alongside human traffic officers during China's peak hour.
Drivers and pedestrians in East China's Wuhu city may notice a new kind of police officer directing traffic. A human-sized robot with a silicone face, hair tied back in a bun, and sunglasses is undergoing training in a busy intersection. It gestures with its arms and hands and offers audio warnings to drivers and cyclists.
And another one, the Hangzin, we butchered that. Number one is literally out there finding violators and apparently helping people across the street. This is what's interesting because it's actually wired into the traffic light system. Oh, I couldn't imagine being fined by one of these things. Like, what do you do? Like, just fucking give it here. So different robots, same placement idea. Want something strong, fast, and doesn't clock off? Someone tends to find these a public safety job to limit worksite related incidents. And public safety in itself is some big money if you can provide it. But all these robots are sort of in the same lane. They're built to be tough. But what happens when a completely different company builds a humanoid robot for the exact opposite reason? I looked into who's actually building the other side of humanoids that aren't built for patrolling or fighting, but built to work. And I found a company called Agility Robotics, and their robot is called Digit. The CEO is worth knowing, Peggy Johnson. She spent 24 years working for Qualcomm. She spent 24 years working for a company called Qualcomm, working her way up from entering as an engineer to the executive rank. Then spent 6 years at Microsoft as an EVP of their business development, where she actually started Microsoft's first venture fund, M12. After that, she ran Magic Leap, an AR headset company, pivoting from a consumer flop to an enterprise business. She's been CEO of Agility Robotics since March 2024, and right now she's taking the company public with a $2.5 billion deal that lists them on the NASDAQ. Here she is in her own words on how far along this actually is.
What are the plans for that money? Why go public now?
Well, we have over $300 million in booked orders right now. We'd like to accelerate that. We have a large and growing pipeline of customers who need robots. They need a solution to their labor shortages.
Straight away when I hear this, I hear opportunity. These robots are filling a purpose fast in a fast growing market. And with prices of tech dropping by 90% in the last year alone, it makes you think, doesn't it? So, what's Digi all about?
We say we are human-centric. We did not set out to build a facsimile of a human at all. We said, what is the job that needs to be done and what type of device can fill that best? So for instance, we don't have five-finger hands. We have grippers that are the right tool for lifting heavy things over and over again.
That's incredible.
No face, no fists, just whatever shape actually gets the job done. Which for Digit, that means moving totes and boxes around a warehouse, not sparring in a ring.
Yeah, so these are jobs that are unfilled. Humans generally don't want them. We have a retiring workforce in manufacturing. Young generations do not want these jobs, and we have reshoring going on, quite a bit of reshoring. That has created a gap of about 1 million jobs in the US, and it was only 500,000 a few years ago. The number is growing.
Their Digit bots have already clocked 65,000 hours on workshop floors already, working with names like Amazon, Toyota. But here's the bit that actually matters for you watching. How do you get one?
We offer robots as a service, so it's a monthly fee, and we offer it as a discount to fully burdened human labor.
The Digit from Agility Robotics specifically isn't available for purchase yet. It's lease only, and it's priced against what an actual human would cost the business, which is the exact business structure a rent-a-robot business of this scale should be doing anyway. But luckily for you, there are thousands of different types of bots just like this on the global market. Once you find one that fits and you make that purchase, you can now use the same pitch to smaller businesses within your local area. And what makes it better is that you're probably going to be pitching to people who didn't know this thing existed. In a gold rush, the people making the most amount of money aren't the people mining for gold. They're the people selling the shovels. Same story as the rental robot at the start of this video, just sized up. Once buying one of these outright gets cheap enough, the actual business isn't necessarily being Agility Robotics. It's being the middleman. Buy or lease a small fleet, then rent them out. Find small businesses too small to land an enterprise contract agreement with places like Agility Robotics. Same logic as the Chinese robot rental market economy, applied to a robot that's built directly to work with someone in their warehouse floor, not a fight card. Or I mean, you could start your own URKL. The opportunities are endless with this one. So cheap robots you can rent out today, a fighting robot with a $1.4 million prize belt, the same category of robot that's already trusted with police and directing traffic, and a completely different robot, Digit, quietly clocking over 65,000 real hours on floor as we speak. This is a booming economy, and you've probably seen at least one of these stories unfold. So I guess the question here is, would you consider a business like this? And what other emerging opportunities have you spotted recently? Drop them down below. I would love to hear them. I do the work, so you don't have to. If you want to keep finding stuff like this before anyone else does, drop a subscribe. Because whether it's throwing punches, directing traffic, or packing boxes, it's still the shovel guy who wins.